You now have his attention. Then they came to Jericho. As Jesus and his disciples, together with a large crowd, were leaving the city, a blind man, Bartimaeus, which means son of Timaeus, was sitting by the roadside begging. When he heard that it was Jesus of Nazareth, he began to shout, "Jesus, son of David, have mercy on me." Many rebuked him and told him to be quiet, but he shouted all the more, "Son of David, have mercy on me." Jesus stopped and said, "Call him." So they called to the blind man, "Cheer up, on your feet. He's calling you." Throwing his cloak aside, he jumped to his feet and came to Jesus. "What do you want me to do for you?" Jesus asked him. The blind man said, "Rabbi, I want to see." "Go," said Jesus. "Your faith has healed you." Immediately he received his sight and followed Jesus along the road. Mark 10, verses 46 to 52. Hello, my friend. This is Clyde. Today we're going to place you at the heart of our discussion, a discussion that is a build-out of the encounter with Jesus and a man named Bartimaeus. It is transactional in nature, but it is also enviable. Just imagine Jesus, the popular messianic person, and on any given day, there are hundreds, if not thousands, who are vying for his attention. Why? What are the demands that people would make of him? And a great crowd of people followed him because they saw the signs he had performed by healing the sick. John 6 and verse 2. There were others who followed him not because of the signs he performed, but because they ate the loaves and fish and were full. John 6 and verse 36. There was one instance when two of his disciples came to him with a strange request. They wanted him to promise that he would let one sit on his right and the other on his left when he is in his glory. Mark 10, verses 35 to 37. Let's now turn to Bartimaeus. Jericho was quite a popular city, and so you can well imagine that the population would be significant. Jesus was leaving the city, and as on other occasions, he was surrounded by a large crowd. The blind man was sitting by the roadside begging. Strategic. People had to pass, and so he would wisely beg when they passed. This time, the sounds around him were different, and he asked about the cause of the noisy crowd. He was told it was Jesus of Nazareth. This man must have heard about Jesus because he didn't hesitate. "Jesus, son of David, have mercy on me," he cried. The consensus of the crowd was that this beggar needed to be quiet but he was not to be silenced. Rather, he cried out the more. It worked. Jesus heard and asked them to call him. Did you hear that? The man is blind, which means that it was going to be a challenge for him to find where Jesus was in the crowd. But the text says that he threw off his cloak, jumped to his feet, and came to Jesus. Remember, this story is really about you. What is your reaction when you hear that you have an opportunity to talk to Jesus? He has lots of others to pay attention to, or at the time that Jesus might be available, you might be busy. But nonetheless, what would you do? Would you drop all that you are doing to meet with Jesus? Would you postpone it because it isn't convenient that day? Or what if Jesus bailed out on you? Like, I had an important meeting today, and late yesterday afternoon, I received a call saying our meeting would have to be postponed because one of the players had an emergency. Can you imagine if Jesus had indicated that he didn't have the time for Bartimaeus, that his schedule wouldn't fit him in, that he would have to wait until the next time he was in town? No. Jesus interrupted his plans to leave Jericho that evening to pay attention to a blind man who sat by the roadside begging. That line was for you. Now there is a face-to-face meeting between Jesus of Nazareth and blind Bartimaeus of Jericho, one popular and one great, one a beggar and the other one the Messiah. But in that moment, the ground was level, and from a willing heart filled with compassion, Jesus asked, "What do you want me to do for you?" Many persons have been asked that question in some shape or form, and sometimes the request might seem formidable, and you get a promise. Jesus did not qualify the question, "Let me hear what you want, and I will decide on a schedule or on availability." Stay with me, please. The blind man did not hesitate to respond. "Rabbi, I want to see." 5 words that spoke of the blind man's deepest need. If I can see, I don't have to sit by the roadside begging. If I can see, I can help myself. Jesus, the most important request today is that you make me see. That is the miracle Bartimaeus needed, and he spoke his need. I have to pause and process Jesus' response. "Go, your faith has healed you." Immediately he received his sight and followed Jesus along the road. Mark 6 and verse 32. I want to talk to you now. Jesus is right here, right where you are, right where I am. You know Jesus, don't you? The healer, the promise keeper, the deliverer, the provider, the one who heals broken hearts. You are here with a need. Listen to him calling out your name, and he's asking you. Don't beat around the bush. Just simply tell him what you need. Shut out all distractions and turn your attention to Jesus. He wants to know just what you need. Before you recite your need, you need to hear this. "And I will do whatever you ask in my name, so that the Father may be glorified in the Son. You may ask me for anything in my name, and I will do it." John 14, verses 13 and 14. "And my God will meet all your needs according to the riches of his glory in Christ Jesus." Philippians 4 and verse 19. Jesus replied, "Truly I tell you, if you have faith and do not doubt, not only can you do what was done to the fig tree, but also you can say to this mountain, 'Go throw yourself into the sea,' and it will be done. If you believe, you will receive whatever you ask for in prayer." Matthew 21, verses 21 and 22. Let me get out of the way and you take it from here. Nobody spoke on behalf of a blind man. He spoke his need himself. "Rabbi, I want to see." In this moment, before you rush out, stop. Stop and be bold and direct like Bartimaeus. He did not wait for the prayer warriors. He came to Jesus, blind, but full of faith. That day, Jesus didn't make mud. He didn't send Bartimaeus to go dip in the River Jordan. Jesus did nothing. Why? Because there is no need too great that God cannot fix it. Don't tell Jesus the history. Tell him your need. And when you speak your need, bear the following in mind. If Jesus calls you with your need, he is ready to move on your behalf. Jesus gave this blind man just the time needed for him to speak his need. And Jesus waited for the expression of faith to come out of Bartimaeus. That day, the blind man spoke faith. "Rabbi, I want to see." Today, now, you have his attention as you stand before Jesus. Knowing your need, release your faith and speak your request. Jesus desires faith. Bartimaeus still testifies that Jesus honors faith. Believe, you will receive.